Hello everybody, it is Nicole from iiKiui, where I want to help you improve your art. In this video, I'll be going over how to blend with alcohol-based markers. In a previous video, I went over how to color smoothly, but in this video we will focus more on blending multiple colors together. Some of these tips may be repeated because the techniques are very similar, but I wanted to include them anyways in case someone did not watch my last video and didn't know these tips already. This tip was mentioned in my last video because I think it's really important when using alcohol-based markers. The great thing about alcohol markers is that they are so blendable compared to water-based markers. Keeping the page wet allows you to make a smoother blend between colors. It is also important to note that you should be using a thick paper, whether it's Bristol paper or marker paper. The constant layering to blend colors will tear thin paper like printer paper, so I highly suggest that you invest in some kind of thicker material. You can use a colorless blender to create an even and wet base for the markers to blend. It may take a little bit more work than just creating a wet surface, but this does help start the blending process. Another way to use the colorless blender is when I want to blend a color into white. To do this, I place the color I want to blend into white, then I go over it with the colorless blender. This lightens the color and almost strips the color to make a gradient into the white of the paper. Just like the other methods, this takes a lot more layering. However, use caution when using the colorless blender to blend between two colors because it will lighten the space between. If you do choose to use it to blend two colors together, try to go over the entire area to prevent any unwanted blotchy spots. Using a brush tip marker makes blending a lot easier. It is possible to use a chisel tip or a fine tip, it just requires a lot more work and layering to make a smooth blend. With a brush tip, you have the benefit of covering small areas with the end of the tip and larger areas with the entire brush tip. You can also create more feather-like strokes, which is actually the next tip. It is easier to create softer, feather-like strokes with a brush tip, but I still use this technique with fine and chisel tips. To create feather-like strokes, add pressure at the beginning, then lift the pen near the end or where you want to blend. This lightens the pressure and makes a gradation. I use this technique when I'm adding the second color to the image because it makes it easier to blend later. I mentioned this in my video on how to color smoothly with alcohol markers, but it's really important to remember when you're blending multiple colors together. First, I put down the base color. Then I add the second color I want to blend into the first. I don't want it to have a hard outline, so I make sure to add it in when the page is still wet. If it isn't the end of the world. If you happen to add the second color when the base dried, add the base color over the top again to wet the surface and hopefully blend the two colors together. Keep repeating until you're satisfied with the blend. As you can see in the drawing, I tried to blend in 5 different colors to create this gradation on her skirt. Since the markers that I used were all chisel tipped, it was a little bit more difficult to make a smoother blend on the first go, but if you keep implementing the layers and keep repeating the process of going over the entire thing with the base color and adding in each color individually and repeating it again, then it will eventually get to a smoother blend. I hope you found these tips useful or helpful in any way. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below telling me what you want to see in future videos, such as more tutorials on markers or watercolors or anything that you want me to cover. I have more tutorial videos coming out very soon in the future, so be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified of when that comes out. So with that, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. Keep drawing, keep creating, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!